Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, right now, a whale is singing. It has been singing the same song for over 30 years. And in all that time, as far as we know, no other whale has ever answered, because no other whale can understand it. This is the story of the loneliest creature on Earth, and the strange, quiet truth hiding underneath it. To understand how we even found this whale, you have to go back to the Cold War. Beneath the surface of the ocean, the United States Navy had built something enormous and secret, a vast network of underwater microphones spread across the seafloor, listening for the engines of enemy submarines. For years, that network heard the hidden movements of warships, but it also heard something the Navy never built it to find. It heard the ocean itself. And the ocean, it turns out, is full of voices. When scientists were finally allowed to listen to those recordings, they discovered that the sea was alive with sound. Whales, the largest animals that have ever existed on this planet, were calling to one another across impossible distances. Blue whales and fin whales sing at very low frequencies, somewhere around 10 to 20 hertz. So low that you wouldn't really hear it, you would feel it. A deep, slow pulse traveling through hundreds, even thousands of kilometers of open water. It is one of the most powerful forms of communication on Earth. A whale on one side of an ocean speaking to a whale on the other. And then, in 1989, the listeners heard something that did not belong. A single voice calling at 52 hertz. That number sounds unremarkable. It is anything but. Because 52 hertz is far, far higher than any blue whale or fin whale is supposed to sing. To every other whale in the ocean, this voice would sound wrong, too high, out of tune, a note that simply does not exist in their world. Imagine being born somewhere where everyone speaks the same deep, slow language, a language you can hear perfectly, and then you open your mouth, and the only sound that comes out is strange and high and yours alone. You understand them, but they may never understand you. One man decided to follow that voice. His name was William Watkins, a pioneering researcher who had spent his life studying the sounds of the sea. For more than a decade, he and his colleagues traced this single whale across the Pacific. Season after season, year after year, the same unmistakable call appeared in the data and then drifted away again, following ancient migration routes through the cold northern water. The whale was healthy. It was strong enough to survive, to travel thousands of kilometers, to grow, but it was never recorded beside another whale. It traveled the largest ocean on the planet, and it traveled it alone. The whale was never once seen. Not a single photograph, not a single confirmed sighting. It existed only as a sound, a song with no face, a creature known to humanity entirely through the noise it made into the dark. And the more they listened, the stranger it became. Over the years, the pitch of its call slowly dropped. It had started near 52 hertz, and decade by decade it edged lower. The whale's voice was changing, the way a voice does as a body grows older and larger. This thing, whatever it was aging out there, alone, and its song was deepening with time. And here is the part that makes the story haunting. To this day, no one knows what it actually is. There are theories. Perhaps it is a blue whale, born with some deformity in the way it produces sound. Perhaps it is a hybrid, part blue whale, part fin whale, a mix of two species whose voice belongs fully to neither one. Perhaps it is the very last of something we have never seen and will never have a name for. Every explanation we reach for leads back to the same lonely place, a voice that does not match, a song sent out again and again into an ocean that never seems to call back. In 2004, William Watkins published what he had found. He had tracked this one whale for 12 years, and then, that same year, before the work could go any further, Watkins died. The man who had listened to the loneliest voice in the ocean for over a decade was gone, and the whale kept singing without him, somewhere out in the dark, unaware that the one human who had followed it so faithfully would never hear it again. When the story finally reached the public, something extraordinary happened. The world fell in love with this whale. People who had never seen the ocean wept for an animal they would never meet. It was given a name, 52, and it became a symbol. Lonely people wrote letters to it. Children drew pictures of it. Strangers across the planet said the same impossible thing, that somehow they understood exactly how it felt. A whale calling out across an empty sea, hearing nothing in return, became one of the most relatable creatures on Earth, because everyone, at some point in their life, knows what it is to reach out and to be met with silence. The longing to find it grew so strong that in 2015, a team of scientists and filmmakers actually set out to sea to search for it. They wanted to do what no one ever had, to lay eyes on the loneliest whale in the world, to finally give the voice a body. They sailed out into the Pacific with their instruments listening, hoping that this time the creature behind the sound would rise to the surface and be seen. But here is the part the sad version of this story always leaves out. We do not actually know that this whale is lonely. We may have invented the loneliest part of it ourselves. Look closely at the science, and the tragedy starts to come apart in your hands. Remember how its voice slowly dropped in pitch over the years? That is not the sound of something broken. That is exactly what is supposed to happen as a whale matures. As its body grows, its voice naturally deepens year after year. The 52 Hertz whale was never malfunctioning. It was simply growing up, like any other whale in the sea. And there is more. In some of the recordings, researchers picked up calls like it in more than one location at the same time, in places too far apart for a single animal to be in both at once. A lone whale cannot be in two parts of the ocean simultaneously, which means the loneliest whale on Earth might not be alone at all. There may be others. We may have spent decades listening to a small, scattered chorus of unusual voices, and simply never noticed that we were hearing more than one. There is a real chance that this whale lives a full and ordinary life, that other whales hear it perfectly well, even if its voice is strange to them, that it has companions we have never been able to track, swimming somewhere just beyond the reach of our microphones. The honest truth is this: no human being has ever met this animal. We have only ever heard it. Everything else, the loneliness, the heartbreak, the sorrow, we added ourselves. So maybe the loneliness was never the whale's at all. Maybe it was ours. We heard a single voice in a vast and freezing darkness, singing a song that nothing around it seemed to echo, and we recognized something in it. We heard ourselves. We took our own deepest fear, the fear of calling out into the world and receiving nothing back, and we gave it to a creature that may never have felt it. The loneliest whale on Earth might really be a mirror, and what we saw in it was us. The 52 Hertz whale is still out there. Right now, as you listen to this, it is still moving through the Pacific, still singing, maybe into silence, maybe to companions we will never hear. We do not get to know. The ocean keeps its secrets, and this is one it has never given up. But somewhere out in the deep tonight, a voice that does not match anything else on this planet is singing its song into the dark, and whether anyone answers it or not, it keeps singing anyway. It does not stop. It has never stopped. Maybe that is the real lesson hidden inside this story. Not that it is sad to sing alone, but that the singing itself is what matters. That you send your voice out into the world not because you are guaranteed an answer, but because the song is yours, and it deserves to be sung. If that voice reached you somehow, across all of this distance and all of this dark, then share it, so its song travels a little further than it could ever travel on its own. The world is stranger and lonelier and far more beautiful than it looks.